Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chantel and today it is Tag Tuesday, so I'm going to do tag. I am doing the beautiful book tag, and I believe this was from my, I had to do a little bit of research to track this down, but I believe this tag was originally created by Holly Dunn Design. That is who seems to be credited with the creation of this tag. And I was tagged by Charles at CG Rated Books. Thank you, Charles, for tagging me. This is an interesting tag. I like to collect books, but it has really only been recently, like within the last 5 years-ish, that I have started considering or thinking more about how my books look in general. I am certainly not immune to the appeal of a beautiful book, but I would say that I don't own very many, at least not in the sense that many people on Booktube would think of when they think about beautiful books, i.e. the special editions, the Illuma crates, the fairy loots, the whatever, the book box type special edition books. I don't have very many of those. It's not really a thing for me. Though I do have a handful of like favorite books that I have, you know, special editions of, or books that I think are particularly pretty. So, with that having been said, let's get into the prompts and we'll see if I can avoid pulling down like half the books off my bookshelves to show you. We'll see what I can do with that. So yeah, the first prompt is a book you bought primarily or completely because of the cover. This is something that I used to do more often, I feel like. When I was a kid, you know, it's one of those things, like a lot of my favorite books that I discovered through just sort of browsing Scholastic book fairs and being drawn in by the cover and then reading the back blurb and being like, okay, sure, I'll pick that one out. Now as an adult, I don't do that quite as much. However, I did last year for my Our Fantasy Bingo Board 2024. One of the prompts was judge a book by its cover, i.e. read a book based almost entirely or entirely on the design of the cover and the information provided on the cover without reading the blurb, without knowing anything else about it. And I did actually do that, and I did end up purchasing a book for that. So the book that I purchased for that was Alien Clay by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which I did read and I did really enjoy it, actually. This is my first Adrian Tchaikovsky book. But yeah, I liked this book quite a bit, and I really like the cover. It's a very cool design. It's got a great color palette that I enjoy. It's a very nice book. So yeah, that is at least one book for sure that I bought pretty much entirely based on the cover design, though it's not something that I make a normal practice of. Prompt number 2 is a book you want to buy that has a beautiful cover. I mean, there's always a few. A couple that come to mind immediately would be the new centenary edition or 100th anniversary edition of The Great Gatsby that has recently been released. It's a very pretty book. I love the color scheme of that. Very nice looking. There's also a number of like Tolkien illustrated and special editions that I would like to have eventually in my collection. I've mentioned in previous videos the recent poetry collection they put out. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the way that looks. I would love to have it. It's a 3-volume set. Absolutely beautiful. I would love to have that in my collection. I would also love to have the illustrated editions of The Hobbit and The Silmarillion. Basically the illustrated editions that sort of match with this edition of The Lord of the Rings that I have. There are editions of The Hobbit and The Silmarillion that sort of go with this illustrated edition of The Lord of the Rings that I would love to have in my collection because I think they're beautiful, and it would be nice to have sort of the full matching set. The next prompt would be your favorite series design. That's a tough one. I have to think about that one a little bit more. I do quite like the trade paperback design of the Realm of the Elderling series by Robin Hobb. I like that they're a little bit different for each trilogy or sub-series in the series, but that they still all sort of go together. So like this is Assassin's Apprentice, which is the first in the first trilogy, and then this is Ship of Magic, which is the first in the second trilogy. So they have the same sort of look to them, but they're still different enough that you can distinguish between the different series. I like that. I like and just the general vibe and look of these books is really nice. I do also like my lovely matchy editions of The House in the Cerulean Sea and Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune. Again, they're different enough that they're not, they're not identical, but they clearly go together. They're very complementary of each other. The art style is very similar. Yeah, so I like the way that these sort of look together on my shelf. There's a number of other series that I could probably talk about, but some of them I may talk about for later prompts, so I'll reserve it for a little bit later. Prompt number 4 is a book with a beautiful dust jacket or something unexpected under the jacket. I have a few that I really like the dust jackets on. I don't know that I have any that I have where there's something under the dust jacket that is like strange or unexpected. But there are a number of books that I really like the dust jackets of. My copy of Mirrored Heavens by Rebecca Roanhorse. I think this is beautiful. I think that's gorgeous. The naked hardcover is, just a normal hardcover, but the dust jacket itself is quite lovely. Again, these T.J. Klune books, the dust jackets, I think are gorgeous. Prompt 5, a naked hardback, a gorgeous book with no dust jacket. I have a few. I, of course, have a couple of Emily Wilde's books that these are just, they came like this, the naked hardcover. They're very pretty. I like them a lot. Emily Wilde's are a good series. I do also have a complete set of the Dragon Age tie-in novels that they put out a few years ago. These are in a special edition hardcover. This is my copy of The Masked Empire by Patrick Weekes. I have I believe there's 5 of them in total, 5 or 6. I have all of them. They all look like this with the gold leafing on the covers. They're really nice. Came in nice naked hardback editions. They're very nice books, and they're illustrated too, which is cool. So yeah, I like these a lot as well. These look very nice on my shelf. I can also, going back to Tolkien, I have this US first edition of the Silmarillion that I purchased secondhand a little over a year ago, that I think is just beautiful. I love this cover. It's it's secondhand, so there's a little bit of wear and tear on the cover, but I do think it's lovely. So yeah, there's that. Prompt number 6, a beautiful paperback. I could probably name a lot of paperbacks that I have that are quite nice. I do have a couple of Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition paperbacks, which are, I think these are quite nice. So I have Middlemarch by George Eliot, and I have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And I really like the overall looks of these books. I apologize if you hear some sounds coming from elsewhere in the house. Somebody in my house decided to start cooking while I was making this video. I apologize. But yeah, so these are really nice. I like the details on them. I like the artwork. Again, it's one of those things where I like this overall collection because they're somewhat of the same size, so they look nice together on the shelf. But they're also different, right? They have different designs for each cover that are very unique and specific to the book itself, which I really enjoy. So yeah, these are really nice. The next prompt 7, a nonfiction book with a lovely cover. I probably have several of those as well. This one I just finished, The Eagle and the Heart by Helen Castor. I think this is quite nice. This has, of course, this is Richard II's heart emblem that is sort of everywhere, that he plastered all over the place. But I think it's very pretty. I think the gold, you know, the overall sort of gold look of this cover is really appealing. So it's very nice. This copy of The Devil's Half Acre, I think, is quite nice. It has a silhouette on it. It's a classic look. Very nice. And of course, to go back to Tolkien, I have this The Worlds of J.R.R. Tolkien by John Garth, which has some beautiful artwork on the cover that goes front to back. It's very nice, and it's got a lot of photos and artwork and stuff in the book itself, which is just great. I love this book. It's beautiful. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to get to it eventually. No, book prompt number 8, a book with great end papers. I have a few, I think. My copy of Mirrored Heavens has really nice end papers. It's got the map of the Meridian in the front, and then this is the map of the city of Tova in the back. So those are really nice. I do also have, this is one of my small handful of special editions. I have this beautiful special edition of The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, which is lovely, and it also has gorgeous art on the end papers. It's very nice. So it's also a beautiful naked hardback, frankly. This one book could probably serve for several of the prompts on this list, as a matter of fact. And I have the next one, The Dragon Republic, pre-ordered. It should be coming in the next couple of weeks to go with this. So yeah, I'm really excited for it because yeah, it's beautiful books. They're really nice. Prompt number 9, The Spine, a book that looks just as good spine out as it does face out. Yeah, I think I have a lot of books that have pretty nice spines. I think my favorite might be, you may see this directly behind me in some of my videos, but this is my my copy of his Dark Materials trilogy, and I really like that the spines spell out his Dark Materials on the spines. I think that's cool. I really quite enjoy this edition of his Dark Materials. This is a pretty old edition from like the aughts. As you can see, it does have the permanent stamp of a major motion picture, holiday 2007. So it's from the aughts, the naughty oddies, but other than this, I quite like these editions. They have the titles are raised and they have gold foiling on them, and they have just absolutely beautiful designs on them. And yes, the spines go together very nicely on the shelf as well. So that's a really nice edition that I really am happy to have in my collection. So yeah, that is about it for the beautiful books tag. There's lots of books that honestly I could show you, that I think that, like, the more I think about it, at first I was thinking, oh, I don't really have that many beautiful books, because again, I don't really get the book box type things. I don't do that. That's not a thing that I do usually. I have very few of those. I have a couple that I've shown you here, but not a ton. But the more I think about it, the more I do think I have some very lovely books. I also have a number of like art books, coffee table books for like movies and video games and television shows that I think are quite nice. I love an art book for I have a number of like Star Wars reference books that are large sort of coffee table books about design and art in Star Wars that I think are really nice. Yeah, a lot of my nonfiction books, my history books, have lots of beautiful artwork on them, paintings and things that are representative of the subject matter. A couple of my favorite books in my entire collection is I have this beautiful Harvard annotated edition of Pride and Prejudice, and I also have another one of these of Emma, and these are absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, the cover, these are huge. They include the text of the novel alongside the annotations, and they also have illustrations photos, pieces of artwork to sort of illustrating and discussing the various topics. These are fully annotated with lots of really great notes and information that contextualizes these novels in ways that I never would have thought. And I'm very familiar with both Emma and Pride and Prejudice and as texts, and I'm also pretty familiar with, like, you know, the Regency period and with Jane Austen's life, but there are lots of things in both of these books that I would never have even considered. So these are really great and beautiful resources. Pricey, which is why I don't have more of them. I just have the two, though I would love to get the others eventually, because I'm pretty sure they did all 6 of Jane Austen's novels in these editions. They had different scholars doing the annotations for each one, so very nice indeed. So yeah, that's the beautiful book tag. Thanks again to Charles for tagging me, and yeah, I actually had more fun with this than I thought I would, showing off all my pretty books. I actually found that I enjoyed that quite a bit, actually. So thanks again for tagging me. I may tag some people down in the description, some specific people, but otherwise, if you have seen that, as always, if you've seen this tag and you want to do it yourself, feel free to consider yourself tagged and do it, because I also enjoy seeing other people's beautiful books that they own. So yeah, that's all I've got for you today. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.